Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Forze Track Talk. We are here once again at our studio in the hospitality tent at TT Circuit Assen. This weekend, Jack's Racing Day. It's already Sunday, that means it's the last day of this weekend, this racing weekend. We already had an amazing weekend. Yesterday, an amazing day where we drove with our Forze 8 and Forze 9 and we drove some demo laps and they both drove together on track. Isn't it right, Amaryllis?
Yeah, it was a historical day for Forze and we're going to make one today again. The whole team was, I think, very emotional, very happy, on a high, seeing both cars drive on track.
Yeah, it was just amazing to finally get some progress and see the cars driving after one whole year of working on this project. Currently, we are in the last 2 weeks of our Forze year, and to have such an amazing weekend, it's just indescribable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice to finish it off with such a weekend like this. But let's not forget that we're not the only team that worked on the Forze 9, but there have been people working on it for the past 5 years. So also for them, this is a very nice weekend, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And just as we started, behind us, we hear the Forze 9 spinning its wheels and making sure everything works for the demo lap we are going to drive today. Maybe it's a good idea to quickly run through the program of today to make sure everyone knows what's going to happen at what time.
Yeah. Our first guest slot will be with Dan and Daniel. They're both team members from last year and they were in the business side of the team. So we will talk to them about promoting hydrogen to the world.
And after that we have a guest slot where Marn and Koen, the project engineer of this year and of last year, will join the table and talk about how Forze and its professionality and structure changed over the years and how that enhanced the development of Forze.
Yeah. And then to finish off our last interview before the demo lab, we will have Bart and Steven. They were both here yesterday already, but then they were in separate interviews and now we have them together to see what life was at the test bench this year, because they spent a lot of time there.
Yeah, after that we already had 3 guest slots. That means it's time for the actual demonstration. Unfortunately, we cannot live stream the demonstration. However, we will make sure to provide you with some footage of the demo labs yesterday. But today the demo labs actually at 3 a.m.
No. It's at 15 past 3.
15 past 3.
So on the map it says 15:05, but it has been delayed by I think 10 minutes. So it will be a little later than that.
Yeah, and we hope to film some of the demo lab too, and maybe we'll display it after today's radio as well. The program is not over after demo labs, where you will have some interviews with some team members, but also with the drivers. So stay tuned for that, and be sure to tune in after the demonstration lab too.
Yeah, for sure. And we will be again, just as yesterday, your hosts. So maybe again a quick introduction round for the people that didn't listen yesterday.
Yeah, for everyone who doesn't know me, I'm Jannes. I'm the operations manager of Team 17, which means I'm responsible for all the events we as Forze attend to, but also for logistics at track tests, but also race weekends like this. So the preparations for this weekend, I've been working on that for the past few weeks and months.
And my name is Amaryllis. I'm the business and finance manager this year. So that means I'm responsible for the business side. So I work a lot together with Jannes. And on the other side, I'm also responsible for the financial health of Forze.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, if you have any questions during this radio, during this show, during the Forze Track Talks, for Amaryllis, me, or any other people, maybe team members that will be here or the guests, make sure to send your questions in the chat, and we will try to answer those questions as well. Maybe it's also a good idea since we are at the racing weekend. However, we are not racing, right? So maybe it's good to tell for the people that weren't here yesterday why we're actually not racing, but we are driving a demo lap today.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that also yesterday, but I think it's good to give a recap indeed. The last few weeks for us as a team have been crazy. We've been working a lot. It was ups and downs, but it was looking really good. We drove for the first time on hydrogen a couple of weeks ago. We then got up to speeds to 180 kilometers per hour, I think.
Yeah, it was
on
absolutely going
tracks.
amazing.
Yeah, it was going really great. We drove on the circuit of Zolder. We tested a lot at night in Breda. So we were on track to get the race. It was a tight schedule, but then last week on Tuesday, I think, something happened which we didn't have any control over. Oh, there's a lot of noise.
Yeah, so as you can hear, we are actually at the paddock, so we're not lying to you. But as Amaryllis said, something really unfortunate happened in the beginning of this week. And I was there at the track test actually. We decided to go to the track with a smaller group than normally. And this was due to the fact that we actually wanted to test the car back to back, a few days after each other. But we were there and everything was going quite well. We were increasing our speeds to about 180 kilometers an hour. And just when we thought we were going to fully clear our hydrogen storage, at some point the car stopped driving and made a really strange noise. And when the engineers approached the car and tried to move the car, it didn't move anywhere, which meant that one of the gearboxes was damaged pretty badly. And after a quick inspection of a few minutes, it was pretty clear for the team members who were there that we were probably not going to make the race anymore, which was just a really big setback.
Yeah.
And really unfortunate for everyone because everyone has been working so hard. So I think as a team we really deserved to have actually attended this race.
Yeah. I think the team was very disappointed in that moment, but still that didn't make them feel less motivated. Everybody was really hungry to still get to this race weekend. And now it's not with a race, but with a demo lap. And I think it's crazy that we even reached this point because we still had to open up the other gearbox, check everything in there, close it again. I think we did that 2 times, by the way, in only a couple of days. Arrived here Friday night very late to make sure it was driving yesterday on track and today also. Yeah,
so although everything didn't go as planned, we still managed to get here with the car, with the Forze 9, with the Forze 8. And yesterday we managed to drive some demo laps at the TT circuit in Assen. The Forze 8 and 9 drove together and next to each other, so we also have some really great footage of that, which we'll show you in a second too. But now, as we said, today we're also going to drive the demonstration, and hopefully it will be successful as well. Amaryllis, are you still excited for today? Because it's already last day, and I think for us the big moment already basically happened yesterday.
I think we will never get tired of seeing the Forze 9 driving on track. So I think it will be an equally special moment. Maybe yesterday was a bit more adrenaline, but I think today still everybody's really excited and a bit nervous because still things can go wrong, but we hope not. So we hope to see again a successful demo lap today.
You shouldn't say that.
What do you mean?
Say it can go wrong. It cannot go wrong.
Everything always can go wrong, so we'll see. But I'm quite confident that nothing will go wrong.
There's no reason it would go wrong now, right? And now I think maybe today will be less emotional than yesterday because yesterday it was the first big moment. However, today it's way more busy at the track than yesterday. There are a lot more people. Also, a lot of partners of ours are present today. So it's still really important day for us and for our partners too. So we will make sure to make a great day out of this today as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, having said this, currently it's the last day, which means that after the show today or after the event today, we will be packing up everything again. We will go back to our accommodation and we have a very big party for ourselves. And then tomorrow we'll be back at our workshop again. And Tuesday we will already start with onboarding of our new timers. Because as I said, it's the last 2 weeks of our year. How did you experience this year, Amaryllis? How was it for you? Because you were actually a board member, one out of 4. So it's quite special. I was just a full-timer and I was 1 out of 30. So it's actually quite special that you're here. How did you experience this year, and what is the biggest progress that you saw? Not with the car, but with like personal development of a lot of people here when we started and maybe till the end of the year?
The year has been crazy for me. It's really difficult to put this into words. Also because I maybe didn't have any expectations beforehand.
I think you also didn't know what to expect of your role, right?
I had absolutely no idea. I was like, let's just do it and we'll see where we end up.
You were talked into it, right? You were set up.
I was set up. No, that's not true. I'm very glad that I did this in the end. I've learned a lot. As you said, everybody's here for personal development. And I think everybody noticed that in himself, but also in others.
Yeah.
You can see how we got to work closely together with a lot of people. I mean, you're working together with 50 people for a whole year.
Yeah.
And at the start of the year, nobody knows each other. And now we're a very well-oiled machine. So
yeah.
I think that's great to see. And hopefully we'll see each other a lot after this year.
Yeah, we'll see. I think everyone will stay active as an old-timer or alumni, as most people call it. I think it's an interesting point to close this talk off. We will have some footage for you now, and after that, Amaryllis will be here.
Yeah, I will be talking with Dan and Daniel. So BizOps last year, marketing and partnerships. And we'll have an interesting talk about promoting hydrogen to the world.
Okay, great. So enjoy the footage, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Check. Ja, hij beweegt. Ja, ga maar rijden, ga maar rijden. Yes.
edit.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Forze Track Talk. I'm here with our first two guests of the day, Dan and Daniel. Can you shortly introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Daniel and I was partnership manager of Team 16.
And I'm Dan, and I was one of the two marketing managers of Team 16 as well. Yeah, it's almost a year ago since we've ended our year.
It felt like yesterday, to be honest.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No time has passed?
No. I think Dan and me have always been sort of like into the team still after we ended our year. We tried to stay involved a little bit as well, so you're never fully gone.
No, I think we're not the only ones with Forze. I think it's a very special thing. What makes Forze so special is that a lot of old people, after they finish their year, keep involved in the team, and they just love the project. And well, I think we've seen it yesterday with the two cars driving. Was the goosebumps moment. I think a lot of people liked it very much.
Yeah. So some tears.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, not only for our team, but also for
definitely.
all the older teams. Daniel, what does it mean to be a partnership manager at Forze? Because you guys are the first guests from the business department.
Are we? Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so I think our main job as a partnership manager is to make sure that the partners stay happy and that the team stays happy with the parts that they have, with regards to the parts that we get from our partners. Furthermore, I think one of our jobs is to find new partners and to show the world what it means to have a hydrogen race car. And that's mostly just promoting on events, and that's also where Dan comes in, I think. That's a big part of his job.
Yeah, Dan, what do you do as a marketing manager?
As a marketing manager, you have, like Daniel said, you have a couple of tasks. One of them, of course, is managing social media and everything you speak to the world, and others is together with partnerships, talking to partners, how you can support each other in our common mission to promoting hydrogen, or some of the parts, show how some of the parts work, and make videos about that as well, and also speak with press. And unfortunately, in our year, that wasn't really much the case, as the Forze 9 didn't go to the track. But I think
or the Forze 8.
Or the Forze 8, yeah. Indeed, the one was broken as well. In the end of the year, we have had a track test, so that was unfortunate. But I think this year the marketing department was a little more busy than we.
Yeah, but how was it then in your year to have not even a driving car and still having to do all the promoting for that?
Yes, that was very challenging, especially as the year before the Forze 9 was revealed, and that was a big marketing event. But in hindsight, I think we can regard it as a sort of an in-between year between the reveal and actually go to track. Of course, there were a lot of technical setbacks in our year, which is very understandable when dealing with such an innovative project. But for marketing especially, it was very difficult because we didn't have a driving car, and especially for a racing team, that makes it very difficult. But I think we've managed okay. We focused quite more on engagement with partners. We've made partner videos. And tried very much to collaborate with them on certain projects.
What is one of the coolest things you did during your year?
My highlight, I think, was the marketing project with Shell, where we've renewed the contract. So we went filming at one of their hydrogen refueling stations, which was very cool with the F8, and also the racing game release together with the toy car. I worked together with the other partnership manager, Alex, and I think that one was one of my highlights.
The toy
of the
cars
year.
themselves, or the release around them?
The release around them,
Right.
and the toy cars themselves. So those are, I think, those are very special and very much. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do agree with you. I think one of our big problems for not having a driving car is you get the most promotion out of a dynamic event, obviously, that generates the most views. And we could only do static events. So I think we did try to compensate for that. We tried to have a lot more static events, I think, than the years before us as well, or maybe your year as well. Mainly because we had to focus on something else than a driving car, because we didn't have one. And I think that's difficult, but also very interesting. You can maybe reach a different audience with that as well, go to different events, explore some different things. I think we for example, one of my highlights was going to Goodwood, the Festival of Speed. I think that was an opportunity that we had because we didn't have any dynamic events. So, well, we sort of like we had some budget left to do something cool, but then in a static way. And I think that it's really cool to see the type of audience that you reach in an event like that, compared to the dynamic events over here.
Yes, of course. I totally agree with you. Event-wise, I agree that Goodwood was one of the best events we went to. Of course, we first tried to make it the dynamic one, do the hill climb there, but unfortunately that was not possible. But maybe in the following years, maybe
exactly.
next years,
It will happen.
it will happen
It will.
eventually. Yeah, such an event would be awesome, especially regarding motorsports. When you send an event like that, you have massive outreach.
Yeah. Are there any other events or things that get these really big outreach? Like what are the biggest ones?
I think the Zandvoort Grand Prix, you get a lot of outreach as well. But
we were present at
Yeah.
those, right?
Yeah, and I think we had two cars set up. I think one at the Shell Beach House at the beginning of our year, and one in the Volker Westphals stand in the fan zone. But you get the most outreach there just because the sheer number of people that go to that event. I think there's around 300,000 people that visit the Grand Prix.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, so it's also a lot of talking. It's very busy, but you also notice that it's a very different crowd there, right? It's mostly just pure racing fans, Max Verstappen fans, etc., and not necessarily people that are very much interested in a new technology like what we are developing. So I think that if you compare that to like useful outreach or outreach to the people that we actually try to target, I think, for example, Goodwood is a bit more valuable for us.
Because what is then essentially the mission of Forze? Like, what do you want to reach?
I think that's your area, man.
That's my area. I've spent a year doing this story now. Yes, so the mission of Forze is two-sided actually. On the one hand, you want to promote sustainability, especially sustainability in an area where sustainable propulsion is not always the case, especially in motorsports. Of course, in the normal day use, you have electric cars now, but in racing, sustainability has not taken off yet, and maybe that's due to the conservative nature of motorsports in general. And I think that what we're doing here is combining these two aspects. So the automotive industry and especially racing. And when you prove your concept in motorsports, you prove the total concept for automotive industry, I think. So, yeah, our main goal is promoting sustainability in racing, and we do that via hydrogen racing and endurance racing.
Does hydrogen has a future in racing?
Well, it depends on the racing sort, I think. I think there are a lot of technologies which will have a future, but especially for endurance racing. So what we focus on with the Le Mans Pro type cars, I think definitely that there is a future for. As electric cars for now are quite heavy and are not able to reach the distance what you need in an endurance racing, and where hydrogen does accompany for the distance that you can do in endurance racing. So yeah, I think especially in endurance racing, there will be a future for hydrogen. Yeah.
Okay. And we, of course, as Forze are also on the forefront of innovative technology. How does Forze influence this hydrogen technology?
Yeah, so I think that's another big part of what we try to do as Forze, especially by going to a lot of events and showing the world what we can do with hydrogen. We also try to encourage other people, businesses, or just the general public to improve and to invest more in the hydrogen technology itself. You know, we try to show what's possible by putting the technology to its limits, and the best way to do that is by racing. And I think that's one of the best ways to show what we can actually do, what is possible.
Yes, and that's I think also why a lot of partners want to work with us.
Yeah.
Is because we test their components and their parts to the limit, and when we prove those parts are useful in racing, they're useful in almost every application in the automotive industry. So I think that's also why partners love working with us.
Yeah, how is it to work with, you both worked with a lot of big partners, you also already talked about Shell. How is it to work with such big names, such big companies?
I think it's really cool, especially because you start the year off as someone with not a lot of experience, and you're thrown into the deep, and suddenly you're around the table at these very high-end companies with all these high-level people, and you're like, oh no, what should I do now? And the learning curve for that is so steep. And I think that's one of the coolest things that you can do, where you have a lot of freedom, you have a lot of responsibility all of a sudden. And I think that brings you really, really far in terms of your skills and what you develop over here.
Yeah. What is the most important thing you learned from that?
Good question. I think that one of the things I didn't realize, I always thought that big companies worked almost flawlessly, also on the inside. And I think one of the things that I learned is that no one really knows what they're doing, but they're all just trying their best, and usually that's good enough. And I think it's the same for us as Forze, but it's also for the companies that we work with. I think for all companies in general, you just do whatever you can and you'll be fine. I think that's one of the most important things that I learned.
And you, what is the most important thing you learned from that?
I think that what I learned the most is the way of communicating and how the corporate world, so to say, exists. I think it's a great opportunity for especially students, which we still are, to get such an opportunity to work with such companies, and also some peoples that are quite high up in those companies, which you can quite on a low level communicate with and have such big projects. I think that early on, having such experience, I think that's great. You get a feeling how everything works in the real world, and Forze is of course quite a it's a company. It's a student team, but
it functions as a company.
It almost functions as a company, and I think it's really unique that the Forze still manages after all these years that even though we're a student team, we're so professional in how we handle things, and I think such an environment really stimulates the learning curve of every student that we have in the team over the years.
Yeah. So we talked a bit about the business part now, but of course you also have a major part of the team that's engineers. How is the contact between the engineers and the business side? How did you guys experience that? Because you're working towards the same goal in the end.
Right. Yeah, I think in our team, I think it went quite okay. I think we did have some struggles at some points throughout the year. Big part of that was due to the fact that we as BizOps try to go to a lot of events, try to generate a lot of outreach, right? And part of that is going to places. I think that's the most important thing. While our engineers didn't have that opportunity. They had to work really hard at our workshop in order to get the car driving as fast as possible. And I think that did cause some friction within the team. I think in the end, personally, I think it all worked out very well. I think we tried our best to keep that friction to a minimum. We brought a lot of tech people to events as well. I don't think there's much that we could have done differently.
No, I totally agree, and I think also the fact that we work towards the same goal, promoting hydrogen and doing something good for the world. But within the day-to-day work that we do as business and operations, really differs from, or is very different from what tech's doing, because they want, on a technical side, needs to drive the car, and we actually need a driving car to function optimally.
Yeah.
So especially now, what we've discussed early on is having no car driving is difficult for us, but it also makes our work makes it difficult, but
and we make it also makes text,
and we make it, and then it's sort of an interaction which is quite interesting, because if BizUp doesn't function well, tech cannot function well, and vice versa.
Exactly,
so
it all comes together.
It all comes together,
Okay.
and I think we did a good job in managing it in a year.
Yeah.
Great. Then one last question to finish it off, because I see time is running out. What advice would you give to the next teams?
I think,
if you had to have one thing to say to them.
I think one of the advice that we got from our predecessors as well, and one that we did not follow as much as I think we should have, is we were quite conservative with how we approached events. As in, I think we could have done a lot more, a lot bigger, if we just imagined more. I think we were very conservative.
Big.
Yeah, think big, and also go for it. Don't wait until the end of the year to organize something big. Start off with something big. You know, why not? Because you never know how the end of the year is gonna go.
And especially now, since we've proved the cars are driving, which was not the case in our year. So that, I think that was one of the reasons why we were conservative, because it was so uncertain whether or not the F9 would drive, and F8 as well. But now it's proven that it can. So I agree with Daniel. Dream big, and now full ahead, full throttle, go ahead.
Okay, I think that's a really nice message to close it off. So think big, dream big, and thank you guys for being here today.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
It was a pleasure.
And we'll be back in a few minutes.
"96 years after the Olympic Games in Amsterdam, I stand here in the shoes of champions, ready for my last journey. When your time comes, you will be my successor. Every Olympic athlete once stood at the starting line with nothing but ambition in their heart and a great team behind them. As you prepare to take the wheel, let me guide you through the roads that have shaped me. Each city, a chapter in our story. Hey man, come on. We just started our tour. You're stopping already. I guess everyone once in a while, it's a little pit stop. Where was I? In our hometown, we were sculpted by ideas and driven by relentless passion. We are the symbol for the future of hydrogen, a task that weighs heavy, but is something to be proud of. And above all, here in Delft, you are in good hands. I embraced the speed of the modern era. Like this city, you are a sprinter forever racing towards tomorrow. I found quiet strength, harnessing the power of nature. Only clean and pure energy fuels me towards my dreams. I also found the need to embrace the past, but with a modern touch. Merging the spirit of traditional racing with innovation. The power of hydrogen. Forze 9, you are the symbol of its possibilities. And so, my time has come to pass the torch, the Olympic flame. It's your turn to embark upon your own journey. It's time for the world to innovate in the field of hydrogen, sustainability, and racing. We are ready for the new generation.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the studio here at TT Circuit Asse during Jack's Racing Days. I hope you've enjoyed the New Era video that was just displaying at your screen. It was an amazing video produced by our marketing team, which is really nice project this year. I hope you also enjoyed the discussion with Daniel and Daan just a minute ago. And with Amaryllis, I think it was really interesting, right?
Yeah, it was really nice to have also people from the business side of our team, because our team is not only tech. And right now we're also joined by somebody from the business side. Can you quickly introduce yourself, Anouk?
Of course. Hi everyone, I'm Anouk. I'm the PR and marketing manager of Forze Team 17. And I started last year in Team 16 as a part-time marketing manager also. So yeah.
So that's really great. As I just said, you have done an amazing project with the marketing team this year, which was the New Era.
Yeah.
We also did a great rollout promotion. And the campaign for this weekend actually was really great as well. You made a lot of amazing videos and footage of the track testing too. How is it to finally be at this weekend and yeah, I think almost getting the best footage of the year basically, because everyone has been waiting to this point.
Yeah.
But you are actually like getting something in this weekend.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It's really exciting, really.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Of course, tech is always working towards the race, but for us it's also very fun to finally see the car driving, get a lot of footage of that. Yeah, showing the world what we're capable of is one of the biggest things that we, of course, as marketing do. So being able to shoot so much footage of all of the hard works that so many teams have put into one car is incredible.
Yeah, what do you need to do to get the best footage?
Well, have a good camera, but also have good people behind it.
Okay.
Because not everybody can work a camera. Yeah, it's a bit of both.
How many people do we have here today that are shooting footage?
We have quite a lot. From our team ourselves, we have 3 people. So 3 cameras, but we also have 4 GoPros. Then we have 3 people from Arab. So they are also shooting a lot of footage, video and photo. And then from the Dutch shooters, we have 3 photographers who are also shooting amazing pictures. So quite a lot of people, 9 in total.
So it's like, and with all the extra cameras and the GoPros, it's over 10 cameras rolling at the same time, I think.
Yes, I think we're one of the biggest media teams actually from all of the teams. So that's quite amazing. Yeah.
Well, and do you get enough footage from the 10 minutes that we're actually driving?
More than enough. I think we can use it for years to come. So that's really nice.
But how is the preparations coming to this weekend? Because we already talked a lot about being flexible into the tech team because plans change. But when things change in tech, things also change for the business department. So how has it been to prepare for this weekend?
Well, one of the things is to make sure that the partners that you're working with, so Dutch shooters and the Arab, let them know that we need to be flexible. We sometimes just don't know what's going to happen. So we can prepare them as much as we can, and we will do that much in advance. But we'll also let them know, it can change from minute to minute. So keep that in mind. And luckily, we're working with lots of professional people that are able to also switch as fast as we can. So that's really nice.
What do they think of working with a student team like ours? Because I think usually they work more with like professional parties.
Yeah.
Although we are quite a professional team too, so don't underestimate that. But I think it works different, right?
Yeah, I think so. But I think they also really like it. I've heard only good comments. I think they also really like that we're quite young, and it's a different working sphere that they are getting to see, and I think that they really like that. I've only heard positive things up until now, so that's really good to hear.
Yeah, and most of the times, actually, that's something I notice is that since the project is like so special and it's one of a kind, most of the people that collaborate with us for marketing and promotion are really enthusiastic because it is something different than they do usual, and it is another team that they're filming, and it's not their usual project that they work on, I think, and that's what I've noticed with the different projects throughout the year too. New Era rollout, also this campaign, the track testing. Most of the time, everyone from marketing that's not from our team is really enthusiastic and really wants to help us as much as possible and make the best footage.
Yeah, we're very unusual, which also makes it very interesting for a lot of people to work with us. Which is very beneficial for us, but I think it's also very beneficial for them being able to shoot something very different than what they normally do.
Sometimes marketing is a little bit more important than the actual things that the engineers want to accomplish. Have there been times this year where you had conflicts, where marketing was actually more important at some point, but you didn't get the recognition, for example, from the engineers maybe because they had another goal than you?
I think it's always very hard. Of course, we want to develop our car, but it's also very important for the team itself to make sure that we show the outside world what we are doing, because we've been working on the Forze 9 for 5 years now. If we keep everything inside of our four walls, then people wouldn't know about us or they would forget us. Showing tech, but also talking with them about it, in what ways we want to show the people what they are working on. So if something major is happening, what they maybe not find so major, but to the outside world it's a very major milestone. Then it's very important that they communicate that to us, so we can make sure that we put that out into the world, and so that everybody knows, okay, so this happened, so they are on the right track to get where they want to be.
You now have been part of the Forze team for 2 years already. What are you gonna do next?
Well, I'm hoping to work in motorsports. So I'm applying to a lot of teams, hoping that one of them would like to have me. But it's I'm searching for a nice marketing or social media job in the motorsport world.
I think that won't be a problem.
No, exactly.
Okay, so we're actually coming almost to the end of this talk again. Currently, I just asked the engineers because they're preparing for the demo lab of today, because we will be driving again with the Forze 8 and Forze 9 on the track of TT Circuit Assen. We will drive today at 15 past 3. The engineers were just checking everything mechanically, but also electrically. Since the car drove yesterday, of course, and we want to make sure that everything is still up to spec to be able to drive the demo labs together with the F8. So that's really exciting.
Did they already do their last startup, or is that still to come?
I'm actually not sure. I think they did the first one for sure. The second one should be any minute, I think. I don't think they've done it already.
Okay, then I think we'll have the car in the workshop still for a few minutes, right?
Yeah, it will only be going in 25 minutes or half an hour to the place where we have to wait before we can go on the track, actually. So I think we'll still take some time. But luckily, in the meantime, we have the Forze Track Talk. So make sure to keep watching. We will have another video for you, and after the video, I'll be back here with Marn and with Koen, the project engineers of Team 16 and Team 17, so this year and last year, and we will talk about how Forze changed in the past years and how it became a more professional team than before. So thank you for watching and stay tuned.
Thank you.
the Netherlands, and Venray Raceway. Hydrogen potentially provides lower carbon energy, so things like power stations or steelworks, planes, trains, you name it, could all be powered by hydrogen. But how does it work? To find out, I've come to Forze Hydrogen Racing from the University of Delft. They're testing a race car powered by a hydrogen fuel cell, and I've been allowed to drive it.
Fuel cell on in 3, 2, 1.
Fuel cells are the key to harnessing hydrogen's emission-free power.
Oh, this is magnificent!
Believe it or not, this race car has no combustion engine driving it.
And accelerate out the bend. Wow, the power of this!
Only a fuel cell. So how does this hydrogen technology generate so much power? To understand that, we need to take this car apart. Sitting next to me is a 100-litre hydrogen tank, and behind my head, a 50-litre tank. These feed the key to unlocking hydrogen's power potential, the fuel cell. As hydrogen atoms travel between two charged plates, a membrane splits them into protons and electrons. The flowing electrons create an electric current, which in the case of the Forze car, passes through a series of super batteries to power an electric motor. Meanwhile, back in the fuel cell, the electrons and protons combine with oxygen from the air to form water vapor, the only emission from this reaction.
It drives just like an electric car, that smooth feeling you get when you push the pedal down. Okay, let's open it up a little bit. Oh, the acceleration! It's just phenomenal!
Okay, Dallas, box.
Okay, turning off in 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
Oh, I totally love this. Honestly, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. It's so easy to drive, it's so responsive, and it's got so much power.
Yeah.
You know, just tiny little movement on the gas pedal and you're away. It's absolutely breathtaking. I love it. Thank you so much for letting me drive this.
You're very welcome.
Oh, I'll take it. That is an absolutely fantastic machine, properly showcasing the potential of hydrogen fuel cells. But the interesting thing is that potential is not just limited to race.
Okay, Jan, the car is ready to drive. Great work, guys. Let's keep pushing.
Hallo allemaal en hi everyone and welcome back to Forze Track Talk here at TT Assen in our hospitality tent during the Jax Racing Day. I hope you enjoyed the videos, and we just had a talk with Anouk, one of our marketing managers. However, currently we already have our next guests who are Koen and Marn, both project engineers, Marn from team 16 and Koen from team 17. So welcome to the show, guys. Great that you are joining the show. Maybe it's a great idea to first do a quick small introduction about yourself. Tell a little bit about what you did in the team, why you chose to do Forza, and what you're doing currently. So Marn, maybe we should start with you.
It's Marn Kleukborg, and I was the project manager of team 15, so the year before this year. And
16, right?
Sorry, 16. Yeah, that's already it's going so fast. But, as a project manager in Forze, we are responsible for maintaining the project schedule, the planning, and making sure that projects are finished on time, ideally, and also when things go wrong, like how to manage that, like how to mitigate this, and that way make the project as smooth as possible.
Okay, and what are you doing currently?
Currently, I am still studying. I am now finishing up my master's.
What are you studying?
High-tech engineering at the TU Delft. So,
Nice, interesting. Okay, and Koen, also small introduction.
So what I do at Forze is basically exactly what Marn described. He's my predecessor, so in that sense, it's quite the same each year. There are small differences every year because the project evolves and becomes bigger and bigger, and different projects pop up. But in essence, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds great. So so you're a project engineer, and basically what you're doing is inventorizing what has to be done to a certain point where you want to become in the future, and decide on how the schedule looks and how long everything will take. What is the hard thing in that? Because basically asking people, okay, how long is this going to take, and then putting that in the schedule, and then that's it basically, right?
Yeah. Ideally, that is indeed the case. However, there are not a lot of hydrogen race cars in the world, so there's nothing that we can basically use to make proper estimations on how long things will take. And that is a really challenging part, because in the end you have to set deadlines, make up to the deadlines. There are like a lot of people involved, sponsors, but also just your own teammates who really want to have a cool event, for example, at the end of the year. And the challenge is really to make sure that you do time estimations as good as you can. But what is even more important is that like a planning is like a day after the day after you made the planning, it is mostly already like not accurate anymore. So it's really about how can you make sure that you have a flexible planning that is really capable of dealing with, for example, delays. Because especially in a project that is so complicated as Forze, with students, with a team that changes every year, that is really the challenge, like how to deal with the delays.
You have to have your backup ready at any time, because as Martin said, it's such a dynamic team. Changes constantly, and you start talking to a different team member and all of a sudden you have a different plan on how to approach things. Your time estimations are not correct anymore. So you really have to be agile in that sense.
And how do you actually find the balance between a planning being a planning and a planning being flexible? Because if you have a very, very, very flexible planning, is it still a planning? And if you only have a planning, it doesn't work. So how do you find that balance? Because people also want to know within the team like what they can expect. That's what we noticed in the past few weeks, that sometimes people expected something that didn't happen, but it was due to a flexible planning. But how do you find that balance?
Experience, and it's a lot of experience.
But that's the thing, we don't have experience, right?
So also what you really try to do is make a estimation as good as possible, and then really think about like what are the things that can go wrong and how big is that impact. Because you obviously take in your planning a lot of time for delays, so basically a time buffer that can make sure that if you have a delay, it's not that your deadline is then instantly not met. But that is also really part of the job at Forze, because what risk do you take into account and what not? Because, for example, in our year, we had the delivery of the electromotors, the SIMOs, and they were shipped to to the neighbors basically, but that happened to be a company that exports goods to Africa, and so and they already sent our electromotors to Schiphol, and there at the douane, they looked at the package and they said like, wait, this is not scheduled to go to Africa, but instead it needs to go to Delft. So it was like an inch away, and our electromotors were shipped to Africa, which would have been a huge delay in the whole planning. But that's for example something that you obviously you can't make that up, right? And but yet it happens, and then you really need to make sure that if something like that happens, you have a plan B for what to do next. So, and that is really what I found really nice about being the project manager at Forze, because you really have to constantly think about how we go forward.
And especially with the expectations you mentioned as well. Like Martin correctly says that you have to make your own planning correctly. The team expects a planning from you as well. They want to know what are we going to do and how is the future going to look. On that front, there's this huge aspect of communication that comes to it. So you're constantly preparing presentations, making visualizations. How do I communicate this planning that we put together as a team effectively to them to make sure that everyone lives up to it and believes in it.
I think that's really true, and especially for a team like Forze. So another question, maybe a little bit different question. What kind of people become project managers? Is it people that have their personal agenda really well organized, or isn't that something you had before? What are the characteristics you look for when you're looking for someone like this? Because basically, Marn, you hired Koen.
Yeah, I think at least within Forze, it's really important that you really like to be on the high level, you know, so to have the system knowledge. Because, for example, engineers are really in their own part that they are making in the car, and they know everything about it.
Yeah.
And as a project manager, you have more the overview, like how does it connect with the rest of the car. So I think really having this that you want to have the overview, like be more on a system level of engineering.
Yeah.
And it's what I really loved about being project manager. It's really dynamic. Like every day is different, and you have to deal with technical problems, but also like with team members. Like who do you give what project suits best for which engineer, and you really have a lot of talking and meetings with engineers to make sure that the project goes as smooth as possible.
Yeah, it's a lot about indeed liking every bit of tech that comes with the team, because you want to know a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Should be interested in that. But there's the social aspect to it that makes you want to come together. Sure, you're not going to be the person that's fully diving into how strong something needs to be. You also have to like talking to people and figuring out how do they work and how can I use them most effectively.
Yeah.
A little bit of psychology that.
Yeah.
And also your heart needs to beat faster when you see a Gantt chart.
Yeah, it does a little bit. You have to like a bit of structure. You have to make sure that people can live up to it.
Yeah, I think I have seen this year, Koen, that you like the structure. So, that's great, and that's an interesting thing too, because as project manager, you're also looking at processes within the team, structures within the team, not only the timeline, not only the planning. And I think especially the structure of our team has changed quite a bit over the past few years. As everyone knows, we started 17 years ago because we are team 17 now, and the team never before existed of 30 full-timers and 30 part-timers. So we grew with each year. The cars grew, but also the team grew, and the structure changed from team to team. So how do you think that the processes have changed over the year, and why that was necessary?
So as you said, indeed the team grew really big, but something that didn't grew along with it was basically the management. And especially at the beginning of the Forze 9 project, you saw that the managing structure was quite lacking, and then we spent a lot of time on like evolving. How can we do this better? Also, we discussed a lot of this together with, for example, PrimaNet, which is a company that really this is into project controls, and we really evaluated and looked at different companies. How do they manage their project? And an example of what we then did is that we added an extra position, which was a chief for example, chief electronics or of embedded software and electronics. So that before my year, the chief engineer and the project manager had to manage 27 people with only the two of them. Which is
without experience.
Exactly, without experience. So that was a really bad idea. So then we basically divided the team in multiple disciplinaries and gave them each their own chief. And that was basically also the link between then the chief engineer and the project manager, who had like the highest like the level
order.
No, not order, but like on system, the highest system level, and then the chiefs had basically one system level down, and then the engineers really on the So
that was also already the case in your team, right?
Yeah, so we were the first year to actually experiment with this structure, and it really had a lot of benefits, and that's also why we decided to keep it, and also do it in your year to hire chiefs.
Yeah, which was definitely a good choice, because you could see that the amount of work that was offloaded from the project manager and chief engineer was immense, which caused the quality to go up so much more, because effectively you can only manage up to 8 people before it starts to become too much.
Is that a basic rule?
It's sort of a basic rule that you try to live by in the corporate world is you don't want to manage more than 8 people, because then you cannot divide your attention anymore. And then you're going to start lacking behind in other areas.
Oh, that's interesting. Then I'm learning this weekend too. That's really interesting.
But indeed, in your year, Martin, you really experimented with it and saw and developed it much more and evolved during your year. And in our year, it started to conceptualize a lot more, to formalize a lot more. When we started really putting it down on paper, what are the responsibilities within the team, to make sure that it was a very clear structure of who does what. There's not necessarily a hierarchy that's within the team. It's more of a division of responsibilities. In the end, you're all students.
And that was also like really a challenge in our year, because the position was totally new. And sometimes it was, we struggled a bit, like what is the responsibility of a chief, and what because that was previously that was for a project manager, the responsibility. So sometimes that clashed, and then we discussed that and evaluated what went wrong, for example, and we improved then on the structure. And I think that is ongoing up till today. So we constantly try to improve the structure.
Do you think that management within a team like Forze is quite often underestimated? Probably not by the companies that we're working with, because they have the experience, they know what it takes to manage a team like this or another team. But especially, I think a lot of people that join the team in the beginning maybe underestimate how important management within a team like Forze can be. Do you think that's true, or?
Yeah, I think that's quite a lot true. Because most people here are from TU Delft, so very, very much technically oriented and have been learning about the deep technology.
Pragmatic.
Everything that comes with it. And the management side wasn't always there, so you don't really understand what is management and how is it affecting the team when it's not there. When the management is doing well and it's going well and it's being managed well in the team, then you shouldn't even notice that you're there.
And what I also find quite funny is that like now also my old teammates, some of them after Forze joined a company, and everyone said like I'm really surprised by how well structured Forze actually is. If I now compare it to my own company, it's not to cheer ourselves up, but it's I think we spend a lot of time on making the structure well, and I think it's definitely needed for this project to make it a success.
I think that's also the reason why, for example, Forze, maybe compared with other similar teams, is looked upon to be a little bit more professional, and also like I think how we present ourselves to the outside world, our marketing, our promotion as well, just everything. It just shows a lot of professionality. Whereas you have a team of people who, in some sense, are just students and not professional at all. But we still manage to be really professional, and I think also more professional than a lot of other teams.
And that is also a struggle at the same time, because in the end you are also still a student team. So there were many instances in our year where then sometimes we were a student team, but then also sometimes we handled structures like a company. So then what are you, a student team? Are you a company, or like a hybrid form? And that brings a lot of challenges with it.
I've had some comments when we went to events this year, sometimes too, of just random people, and at the moment I was just talking to them, and at some point I said and so we're a student team and we're all working voluntarily, and they were like, you're a student team, you're not a professional company or whatever. They are basically shocked to hear sometimes that we are a student team. They just can't believe it. So I think that's really special.
We set the quality quite high, the bar for it. You really have to live up to it, and that comes with every part of the team. Especially now for the management as well. You put the bar way up there. And you strive for it to reach to that point. And you gather some partners who are able to help you, old-timers who are able to help you and guide you into that experience at the beginning of the year.
Because for us it's also just really fun to do. Because that's also maybe if you want to be a project manager, you also have to find project managing on itself like just an interesting subject to.
I didn't even know it before I started the year. Actually, I didn't really. I had slight experience with it.
Yeah.
And then you need to, once you start getting into it, you're like, oh wow, this is actually really good aspect, and you get that system knowledge from everything. High level.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it all sounds really great. Maybe in another life I will be a project manager at Forze too sometime. But for now, thank you very much for joining the Forze Track Talk. I think it was really interesting to see, have an insight in the project management at Forze and to see how we became quite a professional team, I can say. So thank you, thanks a lot for that. In a moment we will have another short video for you, and me and Amaryllis will be back with another guest to continue the show and to finish the program before the demo lab. So thank you for watching. We'll see you in a minute. And Marn and Koen, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much that we could be here. It's really nice.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our studio at the TT Circuit Asse this weekend, Jack's Racing Day. Thank you for watching again. I hope the discussion and interview with Koen and Marn was interesting to watch. Currently Amaryllis and me are back again, and we have another guest, Eva, our amazing team manager. Or team captain that we say sometimes.
Let's keep it at team manager.
Thank you, Amaryllis. Oh my god, I'm never gonna forgive you for this.
Maybe Eva, you can
making the people at home suffer.
So you actually came up with this yell, didn't you? Or
no.
Oh.
So at the beginning of the year, we decided to instate a team yell.
Yeah.
And then I just let everyone come up with some ideas and then we voted. But I didn't, this was not my input, so I can't take credit, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you have to shout it every morning, right?
Yeah, that's true. At least once per day.
And sometimes,
if not more.
Sometimes the rest of the team is not that enthusiastic, right?
Yeah, so every day we start the day with stand-up at 9:10 in the morning, which you would think that's not that early. But sometimes, especially if we had a late night before, not necessarily partying, working often, and it's 9 a.m. and everyone is tired, then it can be, let's say, interesting. Because then I am full out screaming, I feel the need, and then the reply is like, no, the need for speed.
So yeah, how is it to motivate a whole team of 50 students to keep working every day?
Can be interesting sometimes, depends a bit on what the task is. For me, one of the best parts of working at Forze is just everyone's enthusiasm and passion for the project, really. Because I mean, no one would work, 70, 80, 90 or more hours per week if they were on a voluntary basis, if they were not passionate. So to some extent my job is easy, but then for the tasks that are not so fun, but that everyone still needs to do, my job is a bit more tough because you obviously don't get paid. or any other compensation other than learning and having fun.
No, sometimes you also have to make sure that people do basically I think a lot of people think it are stupid things, but important, such as cleaning the workshop, making sure that's not a mess everywhere. But I think you get a lot of not very nice reactions when you have to do it, right? Isn't that sometimes frustrating that you have to do that too?
Definitely, for sure. I mean, it's a bit depends a bit on the day. Like, to some extent, it's just part of the job, right? And it's just something that you need to do because obviously, like you said, it's important for actually our own productivity and just it's important for us to be in a nice environment. But no one likes to take out the trash, right?
Yeah.
So that can definitely be frustrating, but I think it's something that I've really learned to deal with over the year. Like in the beginning, I would really let it get to me, and now I'm just like, you have to do it. Point, like, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of frustrating moments as a team manager, but I can imagine also a lot of amazing moments. What was the coolest thing you did this year?
The coolest thing I did this year, I mean, for me, this sounds really cringy, but for me a lot of the satisfaction comes from when you guys are happy. So when I say that you guys are really enjoying, you know, like someone like, I don't know, Simcon Steve is walking through the workshop because he's happy that, I don't know, at the beginning of the year, for example, his traction processor was completely validated in one go. Or a day like yesterday, of course, when we like meet the goal that we all work together and like everyone is happy, that gives me a lot of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Probably personally the coolest thing I did is I got to go on a trip to Monaco and then Switzerland in one weekend.
Yeah.
To like talk about Forze, which I love to talk about Forze. Anyway, I could do that all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is it to be the face of Forze and to always carry our message with you?
I mean, I guess it's well, first of all, it's definitely a privilege. For me, I really have a lot of passion for Forze and the project, and I really believe in what we do, so that makes it easy. And yeah, it's just a privilege to get to go around to all these amazing places, be in these rooms with people who have such cool experiences, jobs, things like this, to get to stand there in front of everyone and just talk about Forze.
Yeah, and I think that the reactions at moments where you did presentations, for example, were always just crazy. I can remember one moment, I think it was at Pol and Amsterdam with Swissre, and you got the chance to do presentations for all the clients and partners of Swissre, and the reactions afterwards were just amazing, right?
Yeah, that was...
I think you got offered a few internships and jobs or whatever already.
No, yeah, that was for me really actually a special event.
Yeah.
First of all, it was a lovely event set up by our partner Swissre, who is really a lovely partner of ours. Also with who we went to Switzerland, because that's where their main office is. But yeah, that specific presentation was actually really a turning point for me, because I think it was maybe October, November, and it was the first presentation where I felt like all of the things which I thought or felt about Forze really came together in one very cohesive, solid way. And I managed to communicate it in a way that I think really also spoke to the specific people that were in the room.
Yeah.
And it just all came together, and I think after that, like, it kind of like kept getting better and better. But that was for me also really a turning point. So that was really nice to get that positive feedback.
It was basically the moment where and it was for me too, because we had done you had done some presentations already before that. Those were a little bit smaller, with less spectators. And with this presentation and the reactions, it was really a moment where I thought like, whoa, we really do make impact as a team, and people really do see and think that we are really special.
Which we are really special.
Of course.
Which is easy to forget, because you walk into our office every day, you kind of get used to seeing these two amazing LMP cars just chilling there. But I think for sure, and especially on a weekend like this, it's important to also take a step back maybe and keep the perspective that, especially as students who have little or no experience, what we managed to do here is actually quite special.
So in the meantime, the car is going, is going to the place where they have to line up to start the demo labs. Were there some last updates from the car, Eva, that you know or that you're sure of?
Yeah, so I think maybe an hour and a half ago they started it up again, just to validate that everything's still working.
Yeah.
Managed to edit some stuff still to hopefully improve also on yesterday, and as you could see, the wheels were spinning, or the wheel was spinning, and the cars now left the workshop to go to the track for a demo lap again.
So we're ready to do the demo labs.
Yeah, really exciting.
Okay, that will be in a little bit less than an hour. Then I have another question for you.
Tell me.
Because obviously you are part of the board of Forze, and in the board we have 4 team members, which is the finance manager, business and finance manager, the chief engineer, the project manager, and the team manager.
Yeah.
And it's very clear that the business and finance manager is responsible for the finance and the business side, with the chief engineer who is responsible for all the engineering within the team, with the project manager who is responsible for all the planning in the team. But what do you feel responsible
what do I do
for?
All day?
No. But for what do you actually feel responsible within the team? Because
honestly, everything.
You feel responsible for everything.
Yeah, it sounds maybe a bit strange, but it's also, I think, something I struggled with a lot at the beginning of the year, is that I'm generally, anyway, someone who like carries responsibility quite heavily, or like I take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And so like from 0 to 100, taking that step of going into this team, which is a project that so many people care a lot about, and then to be the one who essentially is end responsible for everything that is going on, whose name is, on the insurance papers and everything like this.
That is true.
Was quite a big step.
Yeah.
In the end, for me, it kind of comes back to what I said earlier. If everyone else is happy, then I'm also happy.
Yeah.
And so my responsibility, I think, is to make sure that we meet our goals, and we do it in such a way that everyone still has a smile on their face at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so what that actually comes down to on the day-to-day basis really depends per day. Can be small things, can be big things.
Yeah.
Can also be like the critical projects often which like come onto my desk.
Yeah.
But what I feel responsible for is actually everything. That's why I'm also always so annoying with sticking my nose inside of everyone's business to make sure that everything's going well.
Yeah. Isn't the really big part of your job actually just human resources?
Dealing with angry operations managers.
Not to degrade your tasks of this year, but...
No, for sure. Human resources is also a big part of my job. Like I said...
Did you expect it to be this big of a part, or don't you see it as a really big
To be
part?
honest, I didn't have that many expectations at the start of the year. I kind of just went in and thought, let's see what's... I kind of went with the flow to a certain extent. I did not have that many expectations.
Yeah.
It can be tough sometimes, definitely. I think Abel, my predecessor, really prepared me well for that, because people really come to you with also, some of the most critical or important or saddening things that are happening in their life, and dealing with that in such a way that at the end of the day, the thing that is most important is that they're, walking around like a functioning and healthy human being.
Yeah.
It can be quite tough, but it's something that has made me learn a lot about other people, but actually also myself throughout the year, which is, a very special opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And I believe we're running out of time, right?
Yeah, I think it's very clear that Eva plays a crucial role in our team.
Definitely, yeah. We cannot underestimate that.
Thanks.
But indeed, time is running out, so we'll be back in a few minutes again with the next interview with Bart and Steven talking about life at the test bench.
Ooh.
Yeah, so stay tuned and thank you for watching.
Yes, now let's run to the demo lab.
Yes.
"96 years after the Olympic Games in Amsterdam, I stand here in the shoes of champions, ready for my last journey. When your time comes, you will be my successor. Every Olympic athlete once stood at the starting line with nothing but ambition in their heart and a great team behind them. As you prepare to take the wheel, let me guide you through the roads that have shaped me. Each city, a chapter in our story.
Hey man, come on. We just started our tour. You're stopping already. I guess everyone once in a while. It's a little pit stop. Where was I?
In our hometown, we were sculpted by ideas and driven by relentless passion. We are the simple.
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Forze Track Talk. I'm here with two new guests, Steven and Bart. You both were already here yesterday, but separately. But maybe for the people that didn't watch then, can you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Bart. I'm this year's full-time software engineer. Yeah, I've been having a great year just writing some software for our car.
Yeah, and I'm Steven. I'm the simulation and control engineer of this year. The year mostly started for me working on the power and the drivetrain control systems of the car. And then later on in the year, mostly working on the balance of plant control systems of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you guys feeling today?
Yeah, excited. We had the car drive yesterday already, and today it's going to do it again. So that's really excited. It is somehow getting a bit to the point where we're a bit exhausted, and I think that was a culmination of what we've experienced on the test bench. It's been long hours, I think, since the start of our year. I mean, it's really cool looking back to. We saw some pictures recently of when we started, when Team 16 started at the test bench, which was basically, it was just the monocoque, which was almost empty, with the accumulator in it, and then the subframe with some orange boxes, which contained most of the embedded system, and then the wheels. And at that time, it was very difficult to even get one wheel to spin reliably on our own power. And then the BOP, which was not even in the car at that point, it was in a tent, very separated out, a bit of a mess of wires, and then now it's all in the car and basically driving around a circuit, which is really cool.
Yeah, take us through that journey, because you both were very active on all the test benches. How was it to get the car that we got from Team 16 in September to now a driving car on track at the TT circuit of Assen? How was it?
Yeah, I think it really started with not really knowing the systems yet, really getting to learn. I think you, Bart, already did some testing together with the previous team. For me, it was mostly just running into problems, see where in the control system does it happen, and then learning the control system by looking into the mistakes that happen. And I think that's mostly what we did during testing, just really trying a lot, see what we ran into, and learning by doing that. And then, implementing the fix, of course.
Yeah, so the testing really started off in sort of a bit of a shambly place. Like there was very, very much jumper wires and just very much like unfinished product still being tested. And sometimes you were trying to test the drivetrain, but you were actually testing other components to control the drivetrain, which made testing sometimes also very frustrating. I think it drove us mad in a lot of cases where things just did or didn't work through very unexpected mishaps, if you will. But overall, I think once we started understanding our systems and also the shortcomings of our systems more and more, we could test much faster, and we would run into a problem and have sort of a gut feeling on what the issue would be, and that would often be right. And I think that was really satisfying also towards the end, that in the later periods we were able to test relatively complex systems very quickly because of our very good understanding of the car that we had in front of us.
Yeah, how steep is that learning curve from getting to like absolutely no knowledge about the car to now almost knowing it inside out?
Oh, very steep, very steep. Yeah, like the first few months you basically don't have the feeling that you're doing the right thing. You're asking always basically old timers that already have tested with systems, that have maybe made the systems itself. But throughout the year, like Bart already mentioned, you get more and more efficient in what you're doing just by knowing and learning the systems.
Yeah, the learning curve is insane. You start out, especially if I speak from a software perspective, with this huge code base where a lot of things have already been made. It's built on years and years of experience of old timers, and you're basically just told, hey, do the next step in development for this car, and you have almost zero idea on how to even start. And they obviously help at the beginning, and at some point you get a feeling for it. And I think for me it was really nice that my first big project was effectively getting the car integrated between the drivetrain and sort of getting it sort of driving ready, which meant that I got a lot of very, very surface level system knowledge by just bringing things together. And then later on I could focus and dive more in depth in each of these systems, which I think was very nice in a sort of starting out way.
Yeah, and I also think that there's we of course asked old timers a lot of questions, previous team members, but at one moment there's also a limit to it, because sometimes systems are designed with an ideal case scenario in mind, but then on the test bench there's always something slightly different than you might have in mind, or on track there's suddenly vibrations, for example, and you have to change the system again. So it's also not only learning from other people, but also learning by doing, seeing what happens, and then
Yeah, I think that's what we really try to provide on the test bench as well. Like create a test bench that you can try a lot of things without being afraid of breaking too much or anything, which has been really sort of helpful in a sort of trial and error approach, which I think can be faster than just trying to do it all in theory effectively.
Yeah, definitely. Like the first step in testing is just testing whether we can keep the system safe, not only mechanically, but also that the control system shut down if they need to.
Yeah. You already mentioned that the old-timer involvement is very important. How active will you guys be next year for the next team?
I hope to be as active as they need me to be. I think that's the takeaway. I mean, we obviously want to continue with our own plans. For me, it would be my masters and maybe some part-time working. But yeah, if they have any questions, they should always just ask. And I think that's the beauty of the old-timer culture we have at Forze, is that your phone number is often still in Slack. So if you need to call someone because you need them urgently, they're basically always available, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, I would also love to help out, just because right now we have, of course, the goal to really race. We've come really close, but that means from now on the only thing that's happening is really just optimization, improvement, which is just really fun to work on. So I would love to help out with that.
Yeah, and how do you guys see the Forze 9 developing in the next year? What are the next steps that need to be taken?
Yeah, there's a lot to do. I think I said it already in the part about embedded systems, that there's a lot of maturity that can still be gained there, and I think getting that very reliable will get you an extremely reliable car. But outside of that, you also have performance to be added in integrating a front drivetrain, your second balance of plant, extracting the last bit of performance out of the one that we have in the car at the moment. Like, there's so many steps that can still be taken to get a car that goes significantly faster than what we've seen it go already, which is very exciting to think about.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the fuel cell right now is not even we have only one fuel cell. Of course, the idea is to have two fuel cells in the end, and the one fuel cell we have is not even operating at its maximum power, and we already see comparable performance with the previous car that Forze made, the Forze 8. So it's definitely exciting to think about how good the car really will be in the coming years.
Yeah, it will take a lot of long, hard working hours like that we did. I think the life on the test bench, as we said, it is, as much as it's a lot of fun, it can also be very frustrating, and it's often just very long working hours. You start quite early and then you still continue quite late, because there's always this one extra test you want to do, or this one extra attempt you want to get, or some more data you want to gather, and then you end up just being there until midnight half the time.
Yeah, how do you deal with all the late nights?
Oh, in the beginning by going to the Copra Cup, the local bar, of course.
Yeah, that was a good way to get rid of the stress. I think towards the end it was also everyone finding sort of their own rhythm. For me, what worked really well is working out in the morning and then getting to Forze at a reasonable time, and then just working throughout the day, and then making sure that I've kind of stopped at 11 or 12 and not going past that much more. But I know that on the BUP you sometimes had nights where you went almost to 4 in the morning occasionally.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think really the motivation is what always drove us. Just really wanting the car to work and seeing how close we are getting to it only motivated more to finish projects. Yeah.
And sometimes something unexpected happens or a setback. How do you deal with that? How do you keep the motivation high and to still do these late nights, for example?
Yeah, it depends a bit on what the problem is, right? If it has something that you can control because it's something stupid or it's something fundamental that you can still change, it always feels like, I can change it, so there's no need to worry. And if it is something that you don't really have any influence over, let's say a good example, gearbox braking, if anything, it's a testament to that a test bench did such a good job that you're able to go and break a gearbox. So in that sense, you could also stay relatively positive about it, as much as it sucks. But like, there's always you can always find the positive spin that keeps you motivated, and I think we also did it together, right? Like you're there with other people. You're not by yourself. You're doing it together. You're making sure that everyone is still in this. You're making sure that everyone is sleeping somewhat enough. Like keeping each other healthy and going and motivated is like 90% of the work. Also.
Yeah, definitely. We were always together, never alone. So we could always, if one person was maybe down for a little bit, the other person had the motivation to keep the test bench running. And yeah, together we really made it through. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were with quite a small group of people that had to run the test bench.
Yep.
How were the dynamics in that group?
Yeah, I think over time we've all it's a bit of a love-hate relationship sometimes. I think we occasionally describe each other as a married couple, where there's some things you really don't like about each other and some things that you really do, and it's all in the end it's all very friendly and fun and enjoyable. But there definitely were moments where either me or other people were just very frustrated with something, and it might not even have anything to do with the other person, but there's always ups and downs, if you will. But in a good way. I think we learned a lot, and we know a lot about each other, and we've had a good time. And I think one of the big things also is just that you saw results, right? You were getting somewhere, you were making progress, and that really kept you going as well.
Yeah, and if you see other people frustrated, like, you understand it, because we've all been in the same place. Sometimes you work on one problem for the whole day, for just, it feels like an infinite amount of time, and you can't solve it. Then of course frustrations start to come up.
Yeah.
But we understand that from each other, and at the end of the day we're all friends. I think we're really a good dynamic between us.
Yeah, there have been some setbacks also, but I think also a lot of highs. What was your guys' most proudest moment?
I think as much as it's a bittersweet moment, the last really high-speed track test we did at Breda was like a super crazy highlight right before we broke the gearbox. Like, I'd never seen a car, if anything, the F8 also doesn't reach that level of performance, drive that fast, that long back-to-back ever. And then, I mean, it ended a bit sour, but in the end I was super proud and super excited to see the car do what it did. Yeah, and it's unfortunate that it breaks at the end, but that was definitely, I think, before that moment, a huge highlight.
Yeah, for me also, when the BOP for the first time produced power was really, really great. Just seeing 4 years of work coming together to actually see something being produced. Yeah, that's just amazing.
Yeah, when was that, when the BOP first produced power?
Ooh, that was
February,
January or February, yeah.
And what is it, not even 6 months later, we're here,
We're
right?
here, on track.
Crazy progress. I mean, to start with a car which had never left the workshop in September, getting it to drive on electricity for the first time in end of November, to producing power with your BOP in end of January, begin February, and then basically having it driving very fast very recently is huge. Like, it's a big step, and I think a big testament to what we did at the test bench, but also what the team around us did. Like, we couldn't have done it without everyone else supporting us, right? We didn't really have the time to do other extra tasks, which we ended up, like, the team had to pick up, but we sort of traded it off in the sort of, we do it on the test bench, you do it in sort of the more general day-to-day stuff. And everyone, if there was a problem that we couldn't solve ourselves, or there was something related to, let's say, a drivetrain or an electrical component that we didn't have any experience with, there was always another engineer, like, super excited, super willing, super eager to help us out. And I think that is very, very much also a testament to how Forze is. Just, you're constantly helping each other, and constantly everyone is motivating each other to try and get as far as where we are getting. And I think the big part is that the test bench is sort of the culmination of that. It brings it all very much together and in a higher concentration almost.
Yeah, did you guys feel supported with the rest of the team?
Definitely. Even though sometimes from the rest of the team it required quite a bit of flexibility, because when we're testing the car, they couldn't work on the car. For example, if you want to fit some bodywork, then we can't do it at the same time. And since sometimes the test bench had more priority, we had the car, so we really saw that also for the other team members it required flexibility, but they took it up greatly. And like Bart already mentioned, if we had a problem that was slightly which was not our expertise, then there was always another engineer to help out. So I think also the rest of the team supported us so much.
Yeah, and also a huge amount of flexibility in solutions, right? Sometimes you're trying to test something that is supposed to work a certain way, and then let's say some part just doesn't end up the way that you expected and it works slightly different, and that requires some even just flexibility in thinking of solutions. I think a great example is, which is not of our year but the year before, is that they had a pre-charge PCB for their high side bus and that broke or didn't work properly, and as a solution they just decided we can actually use an external power supply to pre-charge the bus, and then that is sort of a really clever workaround in a way that you could avoid having to fix one part, which would take a lot of time, and then you could continue testing. And that sort of mentality of just thinking in solutions, thinking outside of the box has been really, really helpful also in getting where we are today. I mean, there's some things that in the future you want to sort of take out of the car because it's not the nicest solution, but it does allow you to drive earlier and get more sort of out of the time you have by doing the sort of not nicest solution first.
And in 2 weeks, the new team takes over from us. What advice would you give them?
Never give up.
Yeah.
Definitely on the test bench. We've encountered such problems, such big problems, that sometimes even other companies say in testing our in-house, we never experienced it, and we experience it. So the only thing you can do at that moment is just keep on going, try solutions. Even though you think, will this really work? It's a weird solution, right? Just try it. You always have to think in solutions and always keep going.
Yeah, and I think just being flexible in a sense that also anything can be the fix, but while being sort of flexible and trying everything, do be systematic. Because if you don't write down what you're doing, or if you don't make sort of reports, then either people after you are going to fall into the same pitfall that you did, or you're going to forget that you did the thing or you tried it, and then you're just going in circles, which definitely sometimes happened as well, that we were just stuck in a problem for 2 days and trying the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results, which is, I think you should, that's one of the big things as well they should take away. Just try to be very systematic in what you're testing, very procedural, if you will.
Okay, I think that's a really nice note to end on. We will wrap up here. I think you guys also are going to the grandstands to watch the demo lab. And after the demo lab, we'll show some footage and then we will be back with an interview with the drivers. So see you after the demo lab. Thank you.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our Forze Track Talk here from our studio in our hospitality tent at the paddock at the TT circuit in Assen. This weekend, Jack's Racing Day, where we as Forze have driven with our Forze 8 and Forze 9 a few laps yesterday, and today we also drove some demo laps with the Forze 8 and Forze 9. And currently in our studio we have some special guests. We have one of our team members, Corné van der Gint, who was part-time partnerships this year. And we also have another special guest, Allard Kalf, who is a famous commentator and a driver as well in the past. And I've seen Allard this year at the 24 Hours of Le Mans as a commentator at RTL 7. And I've followed almost the whole 24/7 of Le Mans for the first time in my life. And I was thinking, who is this guy? He keeps coming back all the time. But now I know. So welcome to the studio, and it's really nice to have having you here.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
And your experience, of course, you have done Le Mans, but we had a little chit-chat.
I'm not a former racing driver. I raced today in the supercar.
That's right.
Which you don't really want to talk about here because it's a two-stroke engine, so that's like a lot of blue smoke coming out of exhaust, and we don't really want to talk about that, do we?
That's not our goal, no.
But it's a really, really good thing to race. Anyway, continue.
No, I continue. So we had a little chit-chat before we started, and obviously you have visited us in the past. How familiar are you with Forze, and what do you think about us?
I know what you're doing. I know what you're trying to do, and I think it's find the good words. I think we should all applaud you for doing what you're doing, because I like students thinking without any boundaries. You start to do you build something and you think well, let's do this, and there is no boundaries. You think out of the box because there is no boxes, and that is what this project is for me. It's just something that you start. I think most of the people that start this project are students who not necessarily have a background in motor racing.
No, not at all.
Which could be a huge disadvantage, but on the other hand, it's a big advantage as well, because you don't think along the normal motor racing lines. And what I like about some of these projects, and I'm not too familiar with Forza, if you do that, is like you think, you do your own thing, which is, as a student, think outside boxes, think, different, just do. But also have like the advice of some people that know about motor racing, that think like, well, yes, you can do that, but, the but person should be there too. But I love it. And I this project, maybe I shouldn't say that, but there's more projects with hydrogen, with fuel, battery-powered cars, There's I think here a bike also.
Yeah, the Superbike 20.
So all those things, I think are you should just applaud them and support them and help them and do whatever you can, because I mean whatever you say and whatever you do, you kids are the future.
Yeah.
I'm an old man compared to you.
Yeah. And how does that overlap, that unique style of working within a team, also thinking outside of the box? How unique is that in the motorsport world? Do you see that a lot when you're doing some commentary?
No. You should think outside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that the big elephant in the room, or the big downfall and the big thing I'm sure you all have had, other teams have had that are the other student teams. The only thing that always goes wrong is the time schedule. Because for some reason, if you say, okay, 5th of August, you got to go in Assen and race, for some reason you're not ready on the 5th of August.
It's never a problem within our team.
There is always this like, oh, let's, and I think sometimes, I was at the University of Twente.
Yeah.
Like a couple of years ago, and they said, give us a tip, one tip. I said, make a calendar and stick to it.
Yeah.
That needs to be finished then.
Yeah.
Not a day late, not 2 days late. Then, that date. And because the timeline is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because you want to go and race, you want to show us what you can do. So that is, and that is also in the motor racing world. Whether it's tires, engine, gearbox, a whole car. I mean, a couple of years ago, even the Formula 1 team just wasn't ready at the first test.
Yeah.
Which is stupid.
With all the resources they have.
Yeah, but that's the only fixed date.
Yeah.
That day you have to be on track. How difficult can it be?
Yeah.
I think with our innovative technology, it's not always that easy. It always.
I'm not saying it's easy.
No. But as we talked a lot about it also today, it always comes down to the last second, and that's also what we've seen this weekend. It came down to the last second to get the car here and to get it ready for the demo lab.
But be ready at the last second is fine. But be ready a day late is wrong. So. Be ready at the last second is fun, but just stick to the plan. I don't know when you've actually decided to do a demo run here, but it must have been a couple of months ago. So you've known for a couple of months that this day was the day the car had to be on track.
Yeah,
for sure. And obviously, the ACO and the FIA are working towards a sustainable future. You being at Le Mans, how much of paddock talk have you heard about the sustainability and the future of hydrogen at Le Mans?
The thing is, no one really knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So some people go like, oh, let's go and do battery, or let's go and do hydrogen, or let's go and do. So sustainability is a big thing for big car manufacturers. Now, I think they would love a hydrogen car at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I also think that if you run it on hydrogen electric, for the that's a good 10 years away to have something competitive running for 24 hours on hydrogen. And the problem Le Mans has, like, they don't want to plan 10 years ahead. They want to have more things fixed before that. So I think the end of the day, there's going to be hydrogen at Le Mans.
Yeah.
But the way people are thinking at the moment, it's probably first a hydrogen combustion engine before hydrogen electric.
Yeah.
Because the hydrogen combustion engine is being developed at the moment with, I think, 6 OMEs in Asia.
Yeah, true.
I've seen the engine. I've seen it run. I've seen it run in a car. It's not running on 100% hydrogen. So, but that is probably where they want to go. Ultimately, they want to have a hydrogen electric car.
Yeah.
The problem you have is it going to be competitive? And how long will it take to develop that? And what are you going to do rules-wise? Because there's a lot of things that are written in the rules these days that is from the past with fuel and maybe a 12-volt battery. Now you're running something that is high voltage, high pressure. You need an infrastructure to fuel the car. You know, it's easy now because there's just fuel coming out of hoses.
Yeah.
But with hydrogen, it needs to have a different infrastructure. So they're all talking about it. They're all thinking about it. Everybody wants it. It's just a matter of who's going to take the first step.
Yeah, and of course, as we know, within motorsports, there are not a lot of sustainable solutions yet. Do you think that motorsports in some ways is behind on basis of sustainable technology?
No. Motorsport's way ahead of everything else.
Yeah.
The one that's way behind is politics, because they can't make up their mind. If you look at motor racing, Formula One is going to have synthetic fuel, right? So you could argue synthetic fuel, there's no carbon footprint. Well, there is, because you have to make it. So the people that oppose it will go, oh yeah, they put that in the car, but to make it. And the same is with hydrogen. People say, yeah, you can use hydrogen, but you have to make it green. So you have to make it in the North Sea with the wind energy and blah, 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 which is all fine. So motor racing is actually way ahead of everybody else, because we've had hybrid cars winning Le Mans, hybrid cars in Formula One. We've had different fuel systems, different electrical systems, different energy stores for years. The thing is, the big difference is that was always a fossil fuel car with help of a battery or whatever you help it with. Now you need to go with something that is hydrogen. You need a battery, you need hydrogen. So the big step is, again, who's going to do it? And the question is it fair to ask the motorsport community to do all the research and pay all the costs to do that? Or should, OMEs and even governments help to fund that? Because at the end of the day, whether you go left or right, if you want public transport in cities, it needs to be carbon neutral, full stop.
Yep.
There is no way you're going to have enough electricity to have all the buses and all the cars charged overnight during the day to have that. So the only solution is to have a fuel cell, and a hydrogen fuel cell powering cars, and whether it's a bus or a truck, delivery truck, I don't care. A race car, yes, but people need to realize that the money you spend researching that, even if it's for a public transport bus in the city, can go to Le Mans as well. I mean, what you need to realize is one of the hybrid systems developed by Williams. They had a Williams hybrid. Was a sort of and don't ask me how it works because I'm too dumb to understand. But it's basically you speed up a disc, and the speed of the disc that's your energy store, because as long as that's
like inertia.
So it's I always understand that's the way a nuclear power plant works as well, with anyway, to store energy. So that that system was built into a Formula One car at a very early stage, hybrid. The problem was with it that it was so high speed that the car wouldn't turn anymore because of all the all the forces. But that system is used by London Transport in the double-decker buses, because it has enough energy in it to make it get it moving from traffic lights. So there's no diesel pollution from traffic light to traffic light, because you use your inertia. Now that has all come from motor racing, and that worked the other way, but it can work both ways, and people should look much more into motor racing than anywhere else, because the only place in the world where you run today, you think about it tomorrow, you come back the day after, and you have to be better. Nowhere else in the world, only motor racing.
And how big is the role of Le Mans in this whole motorsport development?
Le Mans should have more. Well, apart from the problem that they've got too many cars at the moment, but still, because they used to have a garage 56, but I think they already have more than 56 people competing. But anyway, garage 56 has the garage where you can do whatever you like. We had a biodiesel car 1 year. We've had lots of things. I think they should bite the bullet and say, okay, garage 56, get a hydrogen car.
Yeah.
Go and do it. Get someone to do it. And you might be too slow. So you could say, okay, let's get a hydrogen car, but you have to do a certain lap time. So you're around in between the LMP2 car and the GT3 car, roughly. So you can do that, and then you should, and then it doesn't matter because it's only you. So if you only run 30 minutes and it takes you 10 minutes to refuel, who cares? Huh? So, but I think Le Mans should do that. I think they should just say, okay, who wants to do it? Come and do it. Huh? And they have to build a new pit complex one of these years anyway, so they might as well build the infrastructure for hydrogen as well. It's not that hard.
No, definitely not. No, I don't think so.
Build a special, maybe the first 3 garages or the last 3, say, okay, anything to do with hydrogen is here. So you have a little bit of an infrastructure there, and they should bite the bullet.
Yeah, just start somewhere.
Yeah, start somewhere and let it be a total failure on the first year. Yeah. Who cares? Yeah. No, but I mean, they had the 3-wheeler car, the Nismo. The Nismo. The car was a total failure. It was too slow. It was, it was supposed to be hybrid. It never was hybrid. It was like, who cares?
Yeah, it's the basis of development, right?
Exactly. Learn, and Le Mans for me. I mean, I think it's probably the best motor race in the world. And one of the reasons it's the best motor race in the world is that it's the only motor race in the world where you can do things like this.
Yeah.
It's the only race in the world where you've got V8s, V6s, turbo, non-turbo, hybrid, non-hybrid, and it's all racing against each other only at Le Mans. And I think Le Mans, they should just bite the bullet and say, okay, and whether it's you or you with someone else, or that doesn't matter, but they should take the initiative and say, okay guys, send us a plan, and maybe even help to fund it, because they should also realize it's their future. I'm not gonna live long enough to go to the 24 hours of Le Mans with just electric cars or hydrogen powered cars, because it's to have only those cars. I mean, it's going to be at least another 10 years. So, and then you're going to phase out all the other cars, and then. So I'm too old to. I'm probably not gonna see that. But for you kids, it's the future, and we can all be. I mean, I'm racing the supercard here. I walked into the paddock on Friday morning. I got changed and they were warming up the cars. And I said to my girlfriend, "Smell this. It's the best smell in the world." I'm at a racetrack. This is what that's gonna go away. Right? That's gone in God knows when, but it'll go away. It's had its time. So you guys, they should realize you guys want to go motor racing, you guys want to do things. Well, make sure you have rules. You can go motor racing. And yes, we can, whether you like it or not, hydrogen is going to be a part of our future. Full stop. And it's the best. Don't even know the English word. It's an energy. It's not an. It's an energy source, right? Or carrier. An energy carrier. Yeah, it's a carrier. So, but it's the best energy carrier in the world. Because you can make it for free if you're in the North Sea using a wind turbine. And so it doesn't cost anything to make. So why not do that? I mean, why do I need to have kids digging out materials in mines in Africa while we have windmills everywhere that can produce hydrogen? Because hydrogen is the future. Okay, hydrogen is going to be a big part of our future. Because yes, you will have full electric cars.
Exactly. It will be a combination.
Yes, but hydrogen, people that say that hydrogen's got no place do not know what they're talking about.
And that's of course what we want to promote. And to be able to show that as a student team, which is even more exceptional, I think, that if we can show already with our team that hydrogen is a feasible solution, then the bigger parties, the big companies, as well as politics, which is really important, maybe even the most important, should be working on the hydrogen technology more as well.
Yes. The only thing is, like, politics is tricky. Because
especially in Le Mans.
Well, politics is tricky full stop, because every 4 years you got new people to deal with. So it's the big companies like Shell who should lobby at the politics. So listen, I don't care whether we are right, left, center, up, down, green, yellow. I don't care. But this is what we're going to do. And whoever is our prime minister, and whoever is, whether it's Trump or whether it's in America, whether it's Kamala Harris, shouldn't matter. Hydrogen should be a priority. So that is what companies like Shell should do. And there is, I don't understand a lot of things with politics. Because
me neither.
Well, the funny thing is that, like, here in the north, all the gas fields are closed down. Everything is being, dismantled. But we can use a lot of that stuff for hydrogen as well. And the politics are just dismantling everything. So why? And it's that's why I say don't trust politics. Don't trust them. Sorry.
And then stopping away from hydrogen and just talking about Le Mans in general.
You're not a big fan of hydrogen, Corné, are
Yes,
you?
I am. As Allard say, that's the future.
It is.
But I agree with Allard that it's also the biggest motor race in the world.
Yeah.
And we have some followers that not only follow us for hydrogen, but also follow us as a student racing team.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your most awesome experience in Le Mans?
Ooh.
I don't think it was the long safety car, the last Le Mans, right?
The last Le Mans, the long safety car, was actually absolutely timed to perfection because I was going to sleep. And me too. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and I actually thought, I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought, is there a red flag? Is there a big accident? And because it was so quiet, and I checked my phone and I thought, no, they haven't phoned me, so it's not like half the garages are on fire, so I should be fine. And I started listening and I thought, oh yeah, it's safety car, so I went back to sleep. Le Mans, awesome. Well, there's so many things at Le Mans that are just plain groovy. I mean, one is being on the grid. It's just such an electrifying place. It's such a place that bubbles with energy that no Formula One race comes close. Then there is the fact that I can actually work. I can stand at the pit wall. I can stand next to the track, work next to the track. I can walk in to any garage, ask any team person anything I want, which is a freedom that is just, well, I always say it reminds me of my first years in Formula One. That is a little bit the same, but so that is it. But then result-wise, I think Jeroen Blekemolen winning with the Ford GT, and then phoning me a day later that I got disqualified is a memorable thing, because the fact that they won and then got disqualified on a technicality was a bit of a harsh thing, but it was really good. That was memorable. Memorable was also when they did win with Jos Verstappen, Jeroen and Peter van Merkstein in the LMP2 category, because that was just an awesome race, because everything went right, nothing went wrong. And the other thing is that, and I'll carry a clip on my phone, and it's a clip from Porsche, and I can't remember the year, but it was the year that with 1 hour to go there was an LMP2 car leading with Hopington, and there were no Toyotas, but they were way back, and there was one Porsche, and it took the lead with I think 30 minutes to go and won the race. And Porsche made a little video, and basically it says, Le Mans teaches you one thing: you do not give up. And for me, that is Le Mans. And you do not give up. And whether it's with you, with your project, whether it's a GT car coming to Le Mans, you do not give up. And that is why I love Le Mans.
I think those are some remarkable words to maybe end this interview and talk with Allard, do you think? Or are there any other questions?
We shall not give up.
We shall not give up.
No, don't give up. Never ever give up.
Yeah, I don't think we will.
And try and find that clip. It must be on YouTube. It's absolutely brilliant. And and if you need help with this, just give me a ring. If you think I can help, it's just give me a shout. Always there. I love it. I love it when people like you do this kind of shit, this kind of stuff.
That's really kind of you, Allard. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much for being on the show. It was a real pleasure to meet you and interview you together with my colleagues Corné and Amaryllis that I've worked with throughout this year.
One little thing, you're going to stop now or not? Are you going to do the next year also, or is you end now?
Well, on Tuesday our onboarding for our new team starts, so we'll be working together for 2 weeks, and then we'll stop, and it's on to the next team.
Yeah.
Okay, now tell him not to start from scratch.
No, we will try to pass it on in a good way.
Yeah, because that is also difficult, because they can't do a lot of stuff you did. They can't use. There is
no, we completely continue.
Exactly.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
oh, good.
yeah.
Because I think that maybe there was the boats or something that there was a new team
Yeah, a
coming
lot of
in.
teams
They start from scratch.
Yeah, and they work for 1 year on a project and build a new project every year. But that's not what we do.
Oh, cool. Good. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you for being here, and I think that's the end, right?
Yeah, after this we will have another short interview with two of our team members still. But for now, I really want to thank you, Allard Kalf, for being at the show. And thanks everyone for watching. You'll be seeing a video in a second, and we will see you in a few minutes. Thank you.
96 years after the Olympic Games in Amsterdam, I stand here in the shoes of champions, ready for my last journey. When your time comes, you will be my successor. Every Olympic athlete once stood at the starting line with nothing but ambition in their heart and a great team behind them. As you prepare to take the wheel, let me guide you through the roads that have shaped me. Each city, a chapter in our story.
Hey man, come on. We just started our tour. You're stopping already. I guess everyone once in a while, it's a little pit stop. Where was I?
In our hometown, we were sculpted by ideas and driven by relentless passion. We are the symbol for the future of hydrogen, a task that weighs heavy, but is something to be proud of. And above all, here in Delft, you are in good hands. I embraced the speed of the modern era. Like this city, you are a sprinter forever racing towards tomorrow. I found quiet strength, harnessing the power of nature. Only clean and pure energy fuels me towards my dreams. I also found the need to embrace the past, but with a modern touch. Merging the spirit of traditional racing with innovation. The power of hydrogen. Forze 9, you are the symbol of its possibilities. And so, my time has come to pass the torch, the Olympic flame. It's your turn to embark upon your own journey. It's time for the world to innovate in the field of hydrogen, sustainability, and racing. We are ready for the new generation.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the studio here in our hospitality tent at TT Circuit Asse in the paddock during Jack's racing day. Currently at our table we have Quinten Bongers, who is chief engineer of Team 17. Welcome Quinten to the table, to the show. Yeah, what an amazing weekend. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it was an amazing weekend. We started off with quite some bad news in the beginning of the week, of course, but then the team changed around, started pushing extremely hard. We managed to fix the gearbox, so we could at least do a demo lap. We had to fix some other stuff as well. Also this morning again, one of our pumps broke. We had to fix it very quickly because we had to move within 10 minutes. But yeah, I think that's the spirit of our team in the last months and actually the entire year. They're pushing all over the place, day and night.
Day and night, indeed. I think Quinten's maybe one of the people or the person in the team that has had the least amount of sleeping hours this whole year.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
You cannot see it off his face. He looks very fresh, of course, but yeah, he hasn't slept that much, I think. But it was all for a great cause, because we just had an amazing demo lab yesterday and today as well, with Forze 8 and especially, of course, the Forze 9. I think it was a really an historical weekend that a lot of teams from Forze have worked towards, and we were the ones to eventually do this weekend, which was really fortunate for us. But we, of course, are going to give the whole project to the next team, and they maybe are going to race.
Yeah, definitely. I think we set a great example this weekend for Team 18, how to deal with pressure and how to cope with setbacks. And yeah, I definitely think they will race in their year, and we will also be active during their year to support them, help them technically, but also behind the screens if they need any personal help. So it can be a tough year at Forze.
Yeah, because how did you deal with the setbacks and kept on motivating the engineers, basically?
Yeah, personally I think there's not really
there we also have our other guest, the driver. Welcome to the table, Jan. We were just talking about the big push that we have done in the past few weeks. Quinten, continue, sorry.
Yeah, I spoke to Niels. Niels is the chief engineer of Team 8 in the same year as Jan actually. And he spoke to me, I think, on Monday to Tuesday night when we broke the gearbox. He said, well, if there's one thing you learn at Forze, it's to deal with failures. Yeah. Well, we have definitely done that this year. But I also think failure is not an option. You always have to keep pushing and continue. Because you can sit down and say, oh yeah, the year is over, or you push extremely hard, fix the gearbox and do a demo lap. Yeah. So in the end the F9 needs to race. So yeah, there's not really an option of giving up and not going for it. Yeah. The F9 needs to race ASAP. So yeah, it's just 100% and go.
Yeah. How does it feel to basically give a car that is just about to race and can drive, just give it away to the next team?
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard, right?
You don't know
yet. It's only okay, yeah. Like 2 weeks, and then you have to say bye.
Yeah, well, I don't think so. I think every team member will stay involved in their own way. I will probably come by quite a lot to give some advice and help them around. I think India, my predecessor, also did this, where he came by almost every day for the first 2 months. And at some point he started letting it go. And in the end he came by again. I think I will do the same.
And how do you think that the next year of Forze is going to look like?
Integrating more systems, starting to optimize the car and get away from the MVP car. Currently we have a working car that can drive. I think the next step is get it actually racing and then start optimizing towards a faster F9 with a front drivetrain, a right BEP, and then winning a race, Jan.
Yeah, that's of course the target. Huh?
And then Jan can finally drive, or
Yes,
race. He of course did already drive. How did the car feel today?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the car drives, so even with one-wheel drive, of course, you can still drive.
Imagine four-wheel drive.
Yeah, I'm very eager to try it. So yeah, of course, I think that the performance that we envisioned for the F9 has been on the table since maybe 2017-18 that we think that this is possible, and now we are really starting to develop in that direction and to make it happen. So it's going to be very exciting, and I think that there has been a lot of hard work in the past 5 years to get to this stage, and there is a lot of hard work in front of us. But at least the car will be driving, so that will motivate everybody and focus everybody a lot more on performance.
Yeah. And am I right if I say that you actually lapped some cars today, or?
I think we lapped the truck. But yes, of course, yeah. But
that's also an achievement, right?
Yeah. Well, it's actually like I don't think I can't remember if at any point in history there have been two cars, hydrogen cars, racing on the track. So that is also a first, and for me it was also the first time to see the Forze 8 drive in front of me. While I've been involved for quite a long time already with that car. So. It's really exciting also to see some of the water vapor coming out of the exhaust, and really experience it from the other point of view. But yeah, of course, we as the drivers we can't wait to unlock more performance and to go faster.
Yeah, definitely. And if I'm right, you were having contact with each other during the demo lab, right? Or
over the portos.
Was there a lot of things? Were there a lot of things said through the portos, or?
Yeah, actually Jan and Leo started talking quite a lot to each other.
Oh, really?
Oh, so you do have contact with each other?
Yeah, this time we had contact, so we could play around a bit.
You just had your phones in there, or what?
No, we just had a porto connected to each other, so that was a bit more convenient than communicating it to a third person.
Yeah,
so.
that was different than yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we changed it around. Now we could hear, oh, Jan, I'm on the left. Leo, I'm on the right. Oh, I'm behind. No, you go in front. It was quite funny.
I think with this, with the demo of yesterday, with the demos, the labs that we have driven today, we have made for an exceptional and historical weekend here at Jack's Racing Day. When you look at how far we've come this year, where do you think, question for both of you actually, where do you think the car will be in a year? At what stage will it be?
Well, I think in the beginning of the year, or maybe in January or something, I told you guys, I think like if we can do some lapping at the end of the year, you're doing a very good job. Well, we're actually in July, we're already able to do laps. So this time maybe it's sooner than we think. So difficult to do predictions now. But I hope that at least we've proven the initial performance of the F9 in a real race, and maybe even went to the second level with the second set of fuel systems and drivetrain in the car. That would be very exciting.
Also, it depends, of course, a bit on the capability of the next team. We haven't seen that much from them yet, but they will start this Tuesday, which is not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow already. They will come in and we will be handing them all the knowledge that we gained this year. So maybe after 2 weeks we can sit there again and think if we still or decide if we still think the car will be in that stage. No, but I think I haven't spoken to a lot of people from the new team yet. Maybe you have spoken to more people, Quinten, but I think we have another great team waiting to work on the car, so that won't be a problem, right?
Yeah, I think the chassis department of next year is very capable. I haven't spoken to the fuel cell and powertrain department. Embedded-wise, we have people available as well, so that's quite nice. And overall, in all the past Forze years, we have seen that there are great teams. When they start with zero knowledge, I have all the confidence that the next team will just start with zero knowledge and then perform very well at the end of their year.
Yeah.
So they definitely should be able to do a race, unless they break something.
And, well, what are you going to do if they don't do a race?
Well, it depends a bit. If they're not working hard, then I will go around the office and
he's going to work harder, he says.
He's going to work harder.
But which department is going to have to do the most work next year? Which department is going to be the busiest?
It's not about who's
Operations,
the busiest, but you need to make sure all of them are busy.
Operations, all the track testing that we're going to do.
I think you have to get ready for your new timers.
Yeah, but that's no problem, of course. We already always have the best of the best, crème de la crème at operations. So yeah, I think having said that, I don't think we have any guests after this.
No, this was the last. So
so
this is it for the weekend.
This is our weekend. This was our weekend. I hope you enjoyed the Forze Track Talk, and you've had a great insight of what we did this weekend, what we accomplished this weekend. It was a very emotional weekend. We were actually quite emotional past weeks. But I really want to thank everyone. I really want to thank all the alumni, the old-timers that have helped us this year. I want to thank all my team members from Team 17 that have worked on the car, but also not on the car, but on other things, and have made sure we can be here this weekend. I want to thank the drivers, of course, and finally I want to thank all of our amazing partners that also help us each and every year to get us to where we are now in multiple different ways, each partner in his own manner. But it's just great to see everything come together, and I think that's it basically, right?
Yeah, I think this was it for the Forze Track Talk, and hopefully see you soon on the next weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you. Bye.
See ya.